Saturday night.
Happy Super Friday, everyone! Welcome to Super Friday Live. I'm your host, the one and the only American Alex Cardinale. I want to thank you so much for being a part of Super Friday Live here on my YouTube channel, American Alex Cardinale. This week's episode of Saturday Live is taking place on Friday because it's WrestleMania weekend and WrestleMania is taking place this weekend. So therefore, I'm doing Saturday Live on Friday. And I actually have an action-packed show coming your way tonight. You're going to love tonight's show. Now, we are just 1 week away from my historic 1-year YouTube anniversary taking place next Saturday. But tonight, I've got a great show coming your way, too. For the first time ever, Chef Alex is going to give out 2 delicious recipes. He is going to give out a carrot cake recipe and a black forest cake recipe. Aqua Alex is going to talk about the Redhook Silverdollar and the chocolate Cichlid. WWE fan Alex Cardinale is here, and he's going to preview WrestleMania 39, which takes place Saturday and Sunday this week. And Easter is next weekend. I've got some Easter facts for you, and I've got some Easter topics. I'm going to talk about the history of Easter baskets. I'm going to talk about whether Peeps are good or not. And I'm going to talk about what I look forward to this spring, plus 6 funny videos and a whole lot more. So let's get this episode of Super Friday Live started right now. If you're watching this video and you have questions for me, post any questions you have for me in the comments. Also, share your thoughts on my topics in the comments so I can see your comments. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this show started. Because Easter is next weekend, let's start with some Easter facts. Easter fact number 1. Americans spend $1.9 billion on Easter candy. That is a lot of money. That's the second biggest candy holiday after Halloween. So Easter is one of the largest candy holidays. Easter fact number 2. 70% of Easter candy purchased is chocolate. So the other 30% is most likely jelly beans, Skittles, and Starburst. But you know what? That makes a lot of sense because more people want chocolate bunnies for Easter, and chocolate candy like peanut butter cups and my personal favorite candy. Today I went out and purchased Easter Twix. So a lot of people prefer chocolate for Easter candy. Easter fact number 3. The first story of a rabbit, later named the Easter Bunny, hiding eggs in a garden was published in 1680. So therefore, the Easter Bunny was created long time ago in 1680. That is many moons ago. Man, I feel old going over that fact. And finally, the last Easter fact for today's show. Easter fact number 4. Easter takes place on a Sunday after the 40-day period called Lent. Lent is referred to as a time of fasting, but participants focus more on giving up one significant indulgence. So generally on Lent, which is a Friday, people stop eating meat. Things like pork, beef, veal, and chicken, they cut out every Friday until Easter. And usually for dinner that day, they have like a cheese pizza, scrambled eggs, or an omelet with no meat but vegetables. And they have seafood. So that happens for 40 days until Easter. And when Easter is over, they go back to eating whatever they want on Fridays. For the past couple of years, I've kind of abandoned that theory, but I've grown up using that theory where on Fridays of Lent, we didn't eat meat. But that's what a lot of people still do. So those are some cool Easter facts to get us started. And we've got some Easter topics that I'm going to talk about a little bit later on in the show. All right, now it's time for one of my favorite segments here on Friday Live, and it's called American Alex Cardinale Asks You. I've got some questions that I'm going to ask you, and I'd like for you to post your answers to these questions in the comments. So here are the questions I am asking you. What are you doing for Easter this year? What is your most expensive purchase? And what are you looking forward to this spring? Because it is now officially spring. So we're going to go over your answers later on in the show, and I'm going to give my answers out later on in the show. So post your answers to these questions in the comments. What are you doing for Easter this year? What is your most expensive purchase? And what are you looking forward to this spring? All right. Well, next Saturday is, of course, the 1-year anniversary of Saturday Live with American Alex Cardinale. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I announced a legendary Saturday contest where 2 people are going to win a $50 Crumble gift card. It's hard for me to say, but no one has entered that contest yet. So I'm going to give everyone until next Friday to enter the contest. And entering the contest is really simple. All you need to do is film a video discussing your favorite way of showing loving or showing kindness and emailing it to alexgoyankiescardinale19@gmail.com. I will announce the winners next Saturday on the 1-year YouTube anniversary of Saturday Live. Remember, 2 people could win a $50 Crumble gift card. All you have to do is enter the contest to win a Crumble gift card. So come on, folks, make sure you enter the contest so you don't miss out.
How would you like to win a $50 gift card to Crumble Cookies? Well, you can win a Crumble gift card. But only if you enter the legendary Saturday contest sponsored by Alex Cardinale and Kelly Love. There will be 2 winners. 1 winner picked by Alex Cardinale and 1 winner picked by Kelly Love. This contest is in celebration of the 1-year anniversary of Saturday Live with American Alex Cardinale. The contest is running from today until April 6, 2023. So enter right now. Here is how to enter the contest. Film a video discussing your acts of kindness you have done and discuss your favorite way of showing loving. Submit your videos to alexcardinale19@gmail.com by no later than April 6, 2023. Winners will be announced live on the 1-year anniversary of Saturday Live on April 8, 2023 at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Good luck everyone, and remember, you can only win if you enter.
That's right. You can only win a prize if you enter the contest. All right, moving along. Let's get to our next segment here on Super Friday Live. All right, today is Friday, March 31st, 2023. It is the 90th day of 2023. There are 275 days left in the year. Today's highlight in history: on March 31st, 1991, the Warsaw Pact military alliance came to an end. On this date, in 1917, the United States took formal possession of the Virgin Islands from Denmark. In 1968, at the conclusion of a nationally broadcast address on Vietnam, President Lyndon B. Johnson stunned listeners by declaring, "I shall not seek and I will not accept the notion or the nomination of my party for another term as your president." On this day in 1993, actor Brandon Lee, 28 years old, was accidentally shot to death during the filming of a movie in Wilmington, North Carolina, when he was hit by a bullet fragment that had become lodged inside a prop gun. In 1995, baseball players agreed to end their 232-day strike after a judge granted a preliminary injunction against club owners. In 2005, Terry Schiavo, 41 years old, died at a hospice in Pinellas Park, Florida, 13 days after her feeding tube was removed in a wrenching right-to-die court fight. In 2019, rapper Nipsey Hussle was fatally shot outside the clothing store he had founded to help rebuild his troubled South Los Angeles neighborhood. He was 33 years old at the time of his death. 10 years ago today, in 2013, Pope Francis marked Christianity's most joyous day at the Vatican with a passionate plea for world peace as he celebrated his first Easter Sunday as pontiff. The Houston Astros, coming off consecutive 100-loss seasons in the National League, made an impressive debut in the American League, trouncing the Texas Rangers 8-2 on opening night. 5 years ago, amid tight security, Nobel Peace Prize winner Malawi Yousafzai and her family returned to her hometown in Pakistan for the first time since she was shot in the head in 2012 for her work as an advocate for young women's education. And just last year, 1 year ago, in 2022, Russian troops began leaving the Chernobyl nuclear plant after soldiers got significant doses of radiation from digging trenches at the highly contaminated site. Ukraine State Power Company said President Joe Biden ordered the release of 1 million barrels of oil per day from the nation's strategic petroleum reserve for 6 months in a bid to control spiking energy prices. Scientists announced they had finally finished deciphering the full genetic blueprint for human life. And here is today's birthdays. Actor William Daniels is 96. Actor Richard Chamberlain is 89. Actor Shirley Jones is 89. Musician Herbert Alpert is 88. Happy birthday to anyone celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday to anyone who celebrated a birthday this past week. And a very, very happy birthday to my dear friend, Jeremy Stellhorn, who recently celebrated a birthday this week. His birthday was on March 29th. Jeremy is a dear friend of mine and a great supporter of mine for so many years. So happy birthday to Jeremy. And that is this Friday in history. One more social studies lesson for you. It's time for horoscope readings for March 31st. Are you ready to learn about your horoscope? All right, here are the horoscope readings for March 31st, which is today, the day that this show has been recorded live. I've got 6 horoscope readings that I'm going to read to you right now, and we're going to start with Leo. Here is the horoscope reading for Leo. The usual routine simply won't cut it today. The helpful moon in your sign is giving you an extra push that can take you even further when the moon trines the sun in your adventurous 9th house. A hunger for the exotic or new could overtake you, and the best way to satisfy it would be to go off and throw yourself into some fresh experiences. To feel like your best self, get up and do something to stretch your mind and broaden your horizons. Virgo, going with the flow will have better results than if you try to control every bend in the river. The moon is in your dreamy 12th house, so reality isn't likely to be appealing. Fortunately, Luna's harmonious trine to the sun in your extreme 8th house could result in a pleasant windfall, provided you let others call the shots. You don't have to release all power, but sometimes the surest way to get what you want is to let other people think they're winning. Libra, other people will do their part to lead you today, and there shouldn't be anything wrong with following along for the time being. A lovely trine between the moon in your outgoing 11th house and the sun in your partnership-focused 7th house could have all sorts of helpful people clamoring for your attention. One specific pal will probably play a greater role than all the others combined. Show up and be present with them because they have quite a lot to offer. Pisces, sometimes the simplest things in your life can bring the most joy. There is an easy trine occurring between the moon in your 6th house of wellness and the sun in your 2nd house of luxury, and together they are encouraging you to stop and smell the roses. If you've been hurtling along lately, too busy to take time out for yourself, make a point to stop and simply exist, taking in the world around you. You can find beauty everywhere you look. Cancer, you can earn quite a nice windfall for your up-to-date efforts, Cancer. The moon in your income sector is linking up with the sun in your career sector. So would it be surprising if the work you've been doing pays off with a pleasant pay raise or monetary windfall? This could also net you a fantastic promotion or another professional opportunity that already has your name all over it. When you do the work, don't hesitate to accept the rewards. Taurus, Taking things easy can sometimes be seen as lazy, but at this moment, it really is the wisest thing to do. And finally, Gemini, you've plugged into a special current that's zapping through the air like a spark of electricity. The moon in your chatty third house is lighting up the sun in your connected 11th house, giving you the energy to get in touch with people near and far. Be sure to talk up nearly everyone you come into contact with, because you could uncover a major opportunity that an acquaintance or a friend of a friend thinks you're perfect for. Your network truly is your net worth. And that is the horoscope readings for this episode of Super Friday Live. Next week, I'll have a few horoscope readings for you. All right, let's get to our first topic of the evening. And because it is now officially spring, and it has been spring for a couple of days now, I would like to talk about what I look forward to this spring. And here is what I look forward to this spring: WrestleMania 39. Every year, every spring, the WWE hosts the biggest show of the year, the grandest stage of them all, and that is, without a doubt, WrestleMania. And this year, WrestleMania 39 goes Hollywood. It takes over Los Angeles. So I'm looking forward to WrestleMania 39. And later on in tonight's show, I'm going to talk about WrestleMania. I'm also looking forward to the New York Yankees and Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball is back, and the New York Yankees kicked off their regular season. Later on in the show, we're going to talk about the New York Yankees regular season debut. Another thing I look forward to in the spring is this. It's going to sound quite harsh, but it's true, especially in South Florida. In the spring, snowbirds go home. What are snowbirds? Well, basically, it's people from states where it's really cold in the winter, where it snows out in the winter. These people come to South Florida to escape the cold, and they crowd up South Florida, and they literally, you have to get reservations at restaurants in the winter and spring because there's so many snowbirds. But late April, late May, late June, all these snowbirds go home. And that is something that I really look forward to in the springtime. Now, this spring is a little bit different than last. Last spring, I got a job at the Palm Beach Zoo, and it was a good job for a few months. This year, I'm also looking for a new job in the spring, so hopefully I will find a new job this spring. And lastly, this spring, I will celebrate history once again here on my YouTube channel, because at some point during the spring, American Alex Cardinale will proudly celebrate its 900th video upload, which will most likely be a live stream celebration. So I cannot wait for that. That is what I look forward to this spring. And later on in the show, we'll see your answers to what you look forward to this spring as well. So my next topic for you is an Easter topic, because next weekend is Easter. Let's learn about the history of Easter baskets, because Easter baskets are a real essential thing for children and the Easter bunny. So here is the history of Easter baskets. The tradition of exchanging baskets is said to be descended from early medieval Catholics. To celebrate the end of Lent, they would bring baskets of delicious goods to church in order to be blessed by a priest. All these symbols of fertility were passed down through the ages: the bunny, the eggs, and the basket itself, to be reimagined into the Easter traditions we hold dear to us today. According to European folklore, A rabbit was said to leave a basket filled with colored eggs for children. And when settlers immigrated to America, they brought the story with them. Eggs, decorated or otherwise, have historically been mythological motifs for new life, also a common symbol of Easter. And there you have it. That is your history of Easter baskets. All right, next Saturday is our 1 year anniversary of Saturday Live, and I'm going to have three amazing special guests, which we'll talk about later. So, over the last few weeks, we have been reliving some of my amazing guests that I've had the last year. Today, I'm going to play a snippet of an interview I did back last year, last summer. I had the chance to interview a former pornographic addict, someone that was addicted to porn, and he is now a porn addict turned expert. His name is Joshua Shea. So I'm going to replay a portion of his interview. But don't worry, during this upcoming week, on the road to our 1 year anniversary, I'm going to upload his entire interview, as well as a couple of the other interviews that I did throughout the year 2022 on Saturday Live. So here is a snippet of the interview I did with Joshua Shea. When I come back, we're going to have WrestleMania 39 preview and so much more. This amazing show continues right after this snippet of a guest interview I did with Joshua Shea. It's time for our guest interview, and this is my first guest interview in a couple of months. Today I have a unusual topic, but I think it's going to be a very important topic that we talk about. Addiction comes in many forms. Alcohol, drugs, and gambling are the most common. But did you know people can become addicted to pornographic stuff or become addicted to porn in general? And that is exactly what our guest specializes in. Our guest today is Joshua Shea. He is a former pornographic addict turned expert on a mission to get the world talking about pornography, addiction, and the potential ramifications being a porn addict can cause. He's given a TED Talk and written 4 books on the subject. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest, Joshua Shea. Josh, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Alex. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
You're very welcome. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for accepting the invite.
Happy to talk about this subject with anybody who's willing to listen. It's one of those things that a lot of people want to ignore or don't realize is out there because we tend to, as a society, like to stick our heads in the sand when it comes to talking about sexual issues, especially negative sexual health issues. So I applaud you for being willing to tackle this.
Thank you very much. So tell us how you first came into contact with porn and ultimately what it led to before you changed your life around.
Yeah, well, the biggest part is that my cousin, when I was 12 years old, showed me pornography, hardcore pornography, magazines for the first time. The internet hadn't started yet. It would be another 6-7 years before everybody was getting online. And I was addicted right away. And I am very much a textbook kind of pornography addict. I do have a fair, or I did, I should say, have a fair amount of trauma in my background. Almost every pornography addict you meet has some kind of unresolved trauma. Mine came from abuse, both of a sexual nature and of a mental and emotional nature, at the hands of a babysitter when I was young. When I finally saw pornography, I don't know exactly why my 12-year-old mind absolutely connected with it, but it didn't take me years to become an addict. It literally took minutes. After I saw hardcore pornography for the first time, I was insatiable. I wanted more and more. And I can tell you that as somebody who was also an alcoholic, 2 years later, when I got drunk for the first time at 14 years old, it was the exact same feeling I had when I saw pornography for the first time. It hit me like a lightning bolt. And pretty much for the next 24 years of my life, I use these two things interchangeably to try to deal with the stress and all of the other horrible things that, come with life, anxiety and whatnot. But ultimately, it led to me going completely out of control. I ended up, because of my alcohol, because of my pornography addictions, losing my job. And I had a very impressive job where I live here in Maine. I ran several magazines. I was even 1/3 owner of the company. And the other two owners actually fired me because I was doing such a poor job running the company. And thankfully, I didn't lose my family. My wife, who worked in healthcare, she understood addiction even better than I did. She knew that I was sick. She also knew that nothing was going to change until I did something about it. She only knew about the alcoholism. That's what most people only knew about. I actually went off to rehab in Palm Springs, California. And it was when I was there that my case manager said, "Have you considered the fact you might be a porn addict?" I didn't think pornography addiction was a real thing. To be honest, I didn't even think addiction was a real thing. But I met with a certified sex addiction therapist off campus. He taught me how addiction is truly a brain disease, how porn addiction is absolutely a genuine addiction, and how my porn addiction predated my alcoholism and how it probably did more damage to me and informed more of my poor decision making in my life than my alcoholism. And that was just, when I discovered that there was the problem. And that was about 8 years ago. Since then, I've been fighting it every day. Like you said, I'm an expert now. Since I was a journalist, since I did work in magazines, when I was trying to get better, I love doing research. And I went to a bookstore. There was nothing on pornography addiction. I went on Amazon. There was very little there. And I just simply decided that I would start to create books on this. And it was only through the pandemic that I started doing coaching. I was doing much more speaking than anything else. But when the pandemic hit, I had to figure out a way to make money. And coaching seemed like the natural way. And I tell you, it fits like a glove. It's absolutely the most wonderful thing that I've ever done, is helping young men and women who were in places like I was, but I didn't have anybody to go to. I didn't have anybody to talk to. And I feel like maybe what I'm doing with my coaching, with having such a big following on TikTok, with writing the books, maybe I am helping to not have the future Joshua Shays out there. Maybe I'm helping to curb porn addiction before it kicks in. And as I said at the top of the show, we need to talk about this as a society. Since we give every 10-year-old kid the greatest porn computer ever invented with the smartphone, but we don't teach them how to use it, we need to start talking about this.
Very well said. I'm glad that you're wanting to be a positive role model.
Well, it's just, kind of the way that I am. I look at it, and I look at my life for a very long time. People saw me playing a character. I tried to pretend I was this guy who had everything all put together. And, I was a local politician, and I had other things going for me that on the outside looked like I had a great life. But when it was the end of the day, when everybody went to bed, when there was no more city council meetings, when there was no more events to cover for the magazine, and it was just Josh sitting on the couch, I couldn't just sit there by myself and be with myself. I needed to get to my addictions because I had these deeper problems. And now that I've dealt with them and I realize just how much better my life is on the other side, I want to tell everybody about it and encourage them to, do what I did. But my God, don't wait as long. Get help as soon as you can.
So that leads to the burning question: what's wrong with looking at porn?
Well, that's a great question, Alex, because theoretically, only 18% of people will become porn addicts. That's the statistic that we have right now. That's across all demographics. Among young males right now, according to a study by the Barna Group, 33% self-diagnose themselves as having a problem with pornography, beginning to develop an addiction, or having a full-on addiction. Now, that's a scary stat. If 1 out of 3 men who are 18 to 30 believe they have an issue with pornography, those men are going to become 40. Those men are going to become 50. Those men are going to have sons of their own and daughters of their own. What kind of a society are we going to have if this many people are sexually unhealthy? That's really what scares me. And I think that if we can just, pull up our grown-up pants and say, okay, we don't have to describe what's happening in pornography. We don't have to get into great detail about the graphicness of it, but we need to accept the fact that people are interested in it. And it makes sense because it's sexuality. And you can go back to cave paintings. You can go into any museum and look at the ancient pottery. You will find sexual depictions on it. There's nothing wrong with sex. Sex is a wonderful gift from our Creator. However, it can lead down a road that is unhealthy. I tell people I'm not anti-pornography necessarily. I'm pro-healthy sexuality. But the problem is now the average kid starts watching pornography when they're 11 years old. Now, for those of us who are older and have had healthy, normal sexual relationships, we understand that sex is not like it's depicted in pornography. Since I've got big on TikTok, I've actually had many porn stars approach me and say, keep doing what you're doing, keep telling the real story, because even porn stars don't have sex like it looks like they do in the movies. The movies are fiction. But if you're an 11-year-old kid or a 13-year-old kid or a 15-year-old kid and you have not had a normal relationship as of yet, how would you not know that what you're watching is not fiction? How are you going to recognize that, pornography is not a reality show? It's not real life. This is not how people interact. But we now have kids who are watching this every day, 30 minutes, an hour every day. Think about that. How many hundreds and thousands of hours is that by the time they're 18 or 19 years old? We know now, based on studies that are being done, that people do take sexual norms, and society's sexual norms are impacted by pornography. Yet, you look at some of the pornography titles out there, and 1 out of 7 pornography titles, if you go to the major websites, according to a recent study, actually lists a sexual crime as something people want to see. So if you've got these kids just getting this fed to them again and again and again and again, what is that going to do to them? Forget addiction. Most of them won't be addicts, but what's that going to do to them? I'll tell you a really quick, interesting story. Was a while back, I was at a college here in Maine giving a presentation to a woman's sexual health group. And one of the women asked me, and this was actually a couple of years ago. One of the women asked me, "Have you heard about women in college or college age women or even high school girls not wanting to have sex with virgin men?" And I said, "No, I haven't. I don't talk to them a lot." And what she explained was that so many boys are growing up watching pornography and taking their cues from what they see. And when you consider pornography, 97% of pornography that's been studied has some kind of sexual aggression, almost always the male towards the female. What is that causing? 40% of consensual sexual acts between a male and a female, females are reporting that 40% of the time they have actually been involved in something that was too aggressive, in something that crossed the line, in something that didn't make them feel good. Now, what are these guys who are growing up on porn? How are they going to know the difference? So a lot of these women are actually now not wanting to have sex with virgin men because they know that they're going to act like the porn stars they see on film, who say horrible things to women, who bend them in all kinds of different shapes. And that doesn't even get to the point of how almost all of these film clips end. That's not real life. And that's what these women don't want to deal with. They don't want to have to teach a virgin man what you've been watching for 7-8 years is not real. They would just as soon stay away from it. So you get just this sexual sick society. And that's even outside of addiction. We need to talk about how pornography is affecting our youngest and how it's changing the culture. I mean, just look at something like OnlyFans. You know, what's that going to do to all of these young men and young women who have decided it's worth $5 or $10 to expose themselves to their friends and to the world on camera? What's that going to do to them in 5 years? What's that going to do to them in 10 years? I'm not necessarily talking about, oh, your kid will see you had a picture, or in 20 years you'll not get a job because something. There's too much nudity out there at this point. It won't even matter. What I'm wondering is, what is the mental fallout going to be from these people who have decided selling their bodies online? What's that do to them? We don't know, because this has never happened in society before. We are in some very scary waters, and we need to start talking about it.
I agree 100% with you. I'm actually not a fan of OnlyFans, and I don't respect people that post nudes online for money. It's kind of gross when you think about it.
Well, look at it this way, Alex. When I was in high school, there was no social media. We didn't have it. If there was a photo of like the buff football player and his cheerleader girlfriend, and they were at the beach, you know, him in his shorts and his good abs, and her in her bikini and her great body, it would have been passed around the lunchroom, and everybody would have been like, "Oh my goodness, have you seen the picture of these two, the two of them?" But what do we have today? We have Instagram, we have Snapchat, we have TikTok. It is normal for 15 and 16-year-old kids to be posting half-naked photos of themselves. It's almost expected that you're going to go find half-naked photos of these people online. So you tell me, when you've got let's say just a female, the day before she turns 18, you know, what's the difference between her wearing a bikini and the day she turns 18 taking off her top? Well, suddenly she can now charge all of the guys who look at that Instagram photo, she can charge them $20 a pop. 50 of them want to see it. That's $1,000. Now, with the breaking down of sexual taboos that we've seen, it's not that big of a deal for her to take her top off, and it's worth $1,000. You can understand why they want to do it. Why would you go work at McDonald's? Why would you go work at a bowling alley? Why would you do anything when you can work for 30 minutes a day and make $1,000? It's not a healthy society that we're creating here with this kind of do-it-yourself pornography.
That is very true. So this next question is very important. How can you tell when someone is addicted to porn?
Well, it's important to recognize that addiction or addicted is just a label. You know, there is no blood test for it. But what you can usually look for, whether it's yourself or with others, is a change in attitude. You know, when somebody's addicted, basically it means that they engage in a behavior or an activity that they understand can cause negative repercussions, but they won't stop nonetheless. And a lot of times this means that they choose the pornography over their friends. Hey, everybody's going out Friday night. You want to go out with us? No, I'm going to stay home. Okay. Or if you ask somebody, hey, you look at a lot of porn, don't you? Well, do you know who doesn't care if they're asked that? People who don't have porn problems. It's like if I asked, you know, Alex, tell me about your heroin problem. You'd laugh at me because you probably don't have a heroin problem. But if you ask somebody about their porn problem, they get very defensive. That's a very good way to see that they've got an issue there. They're obsessing about it. They talk about it a lot. They start to become less reliable. They start to become more depressed. These are all symptoms of porn addiction. And it can be a very serious thing. I work with people every day, and it's just like any other addiction. It takes over your mind. The amount of people who tell me, I tell myself I'm only going to look for 20 minutes, and then 3 hours later, I'm still there. Or I'm only going to look 2 or 3 times this week, and suddenly I'm looking every day of the week. Now you start to see people who are in relationships doing this and lying to their partners, and relationships are getting ruined all over the place because of pornography. Because one partner, usually the woman, says, I don't want this in our relationship, but the guy is often a porn addict heading into the relationship. They have to hide it. I also deal with betrayal trauma and deal with, the fallout of people who, I thought my husband never looked at this stuff. I thought he didn't care. Now I found out he's been looking at this stuff for 10 years.
Right, so that was just a snippet of an interview that I did with Joshua Shea. I'm going to post the full interview later on this week on my YouTube channel, as well as some of the previous interviews that I did in 2022 as we celebrate our 1 year anniversary next week. All right. Well, this weekend is a big weekend, especially if you're a wrestling fan, because it's WrestleMania weekend. WrestleMania goes Hollywood this weekend. And this actually marks the first time that I get to preview WrestleMania here on Saturday Live. So I'm very excited about that. So WrestleMania 39 takes place in Hollywood, and it goes Hollywood this weekend. So right here, right now, on Super Friday Live, I'm going to preview WrestleMania 39, which starts tomorrow and concludes on Sunday night. Before I go over all the matches, I would like to show off the WrestleMania stage, which WWE revealed earlier today. Here is a first picture of the WrestleMania stage. I have to admit, it kind of looks interesting. I thought last year's stage was much better, but this one fits the theme. WrestleMania is Hollywood this year, and this kind of looks like a movie theater Hollywood set. So I do kind of like this year's WrestleMania stage. And here's a better picture of the WrestleMania Hollywood stage, which we'll see tomorrow and Sunday. So very, very cool. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania. WrestleMania is my favorite wrestling pay-per-view of all time, and I think this year's event is going to be phenomenal. So WrestleMania starts tomorrow, and here is the match card for WrestleMania 39 Saturday. We've got John Cena challenging Austin Theory for the United States Championship. That's going to be the opening match for WrestleMania Saturday. We've got the winner of the 2023 Women's Royal Rumble match, Rhea Ripley, challenging Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We've got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens challenging the Usos for the undisputed tag team championships. We've got Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus taking on Damage Control, Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Two Hall of Famers and the man against Control. We've got Seth Rollins taking on Logan Paul. We've got Rey Mysterio, WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio, taking on Dominic Mysterio. And the WrestleMania Showcase match for WrestleMania Saturday is Braun Strowman and Ricochet taking on the Street Profits, taking on the Alpha Academy and Viking Raiders in a fatal four-way WrestleMania showcase match. Here is the WrestleMania Day match card. You're having some issues here. Sometimes StreamYard. All right, let's see here. Why is it frozen? All right, so here's the Sunday match card. The main event for WrestleMania Sunday is a battle of Roman Reigns, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes for All right, let's try that again. Sorry, it appears we were having some technical issues. So I'm going to go over the WrestleMania cards once again because I want how much got cut out of there because of the technical issues. But WrestleMania Sunday, we've got the main event, Roman Reigns defending his undisputed Universal Championship against American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Then you've got Asuka challenging for the Raw Women's Championship against the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair. We've got Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. We've got Edge versus Finn Balor, Hell in a Cell. Brock Lesnar versus Omos. And the Women's WrestleMania showcase match, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Natalya and Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. That is the WrestleMania Sunday match card. And then the WrestleMania Saturday, once again, is John Cena versus Theory, Flair versus Ripley, Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, Becky Lynch, WWE Hall of Famer Lita, WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus versus Damage Control, Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy and the Viking Raiders. And then on Sunday, once again, you've got Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, Bianca Belair versus Asuka, Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, Edge versus Balor, Lesnar versus Omos, and the Women's Showcase match. Don't miss my WrestleMania 39 pre-shows taking place at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific here on my YouTube channel on Saturday and Sunday. So that's going to be awesome. WrestleMania is going to be awesome. Next Saturday on our 1-year YouTube anniversary, I am going to review WrestleMania 39. So we'll see how WrestleMania is. All right, well, I hope you have a sweet tooth and I hope you're hungry because for the first time ever on Saturday Live, or should I say Super Friday Live, Chef Alex is going to give out 2 delicious cake recipes. Let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I've got 2 delicious cake recipes that are perfect for Easter next weekend. Up first, I've got a delicious Black Forest cake. Now, if you're like me and you've never heard of Black Forest cake, but you might have had it, here is what a Black Forest cake is. What is Black Forest cake? Well, Black Forest cake is a chocolate cake that has a rich cherry filling. Typically, Black Forest cake consists of several layers of chocolate sponge cake sandwiched with whipped cream and cherries. It is decorated with additional whipped cream, mascarpone cherries, and chocolate shavings. It is really delicious. Here is my recipe for Black Forest cake. You're going to need a chocolate cake mix from Duncan Hines. You're going to need 1 pint, 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, a half cup of powdered sugar, 2 to 3 tablespoons of brandy if desired. You don't have to use alcohol if you don't want to. And 1 can of cherry pie filling. Preheat your oven to 350, and you're going to grease 2 8 or 9 inch round cake pans or spray them with baking spray. Make and bake your cake as directed on box for 8 or 9 inch rounds. Cool for 10 minutes and remove from pans to a cooling rack. You're going to cool them completely about an hour. Then you're going to make your whipped cream by beating your heavy cream with electric mixer at high speed until slightly thickened. You're going to gradually beat in your powdered sugar until stiff peaks form. Then you're going to fold in your brandy. In another small bowl, mix your cherry pie filling. On a serving plate, place 1 cake layer rounded side down. Spread with half of the whipped cream, then 1 cup cherry mixture to with one edge of the cake. Top with second layer, rounded side up. Frost top with remaining whipped cream and spoon remaining cherry mixture over top. Now for garnish, you can sprinkle with sliced almonds or fresh cherries, or even cherries and chopped up chocolate would be great decor. And that is a perfect Black Forest cake, which is perfect for Easter. But another cake that is perfect for Easter is a delicious carrot cake. And carrot cake is a cake that is loved by many Americans. But if you've never had carrot cake, what is carrot cake? Well, carrot cake is basically a spice cake that has carrots in it. So here's my recipe for carrot cake. 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 cups of white sugar, 1 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, 4 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons baking soda, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 2 teaspoons ground cinnamon, a half teaspoon of salt, 3 cups of grated carrots, 1 cup of raisins, and 1 cup of chopped pecans. And for the frosting, you need a half cup of butter softened, 8 ounces of cream cheese softened, 4 cups of powdered sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Preheat the oven to 350 and grease and flour a 9 by 13 inch pan. Beat your sugars, oil, eggs, and vanilla together in a large bowl until well combined. Mix in your flour, baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt, and stir in carrots and pour into the prepared pan. Bake in a preheated oven until a toothpick inserted into the center of the cake comes out clean, about 40 minutes. To make the frosting, beat your butter, cream cheese, powdered sugar, and vanilla in a large bowl until smooth and creamy, and frost your cooled cake. And that is a delicious carrot cake recipe, perfect for Easter. Next week, Chef Alex is back in the kitchen on the 1-year anniversary of Saturday Live. And next week, Chef Alex will show you how to make strawberry cheesecake, which is perfect for Easter. All right, here is the questions that I'm asking you, and you can post your answers in the comments. We're going to answer these questions in about 15 minutes. So what are you doing for Easter this year? What is your most expensive purchase? And what are you looking forward to this spring? Post your answers in the comments. And later on in the show, we're going to go over your answers as well as my answers to some of these questions. All right, moving along. We still have a lot of great things coming your way right now. We've got my final Easter topic, and my final Easter topic is on a candy that is synonymous with Easter, and that is Peeps. Peeps, you know, those little marshmallow chicks and bunnies. I used to like them a little bit as a kid, but now I don't like them. They're all sugar. So I'm going to answer the question, are Peeps good or bad? In my humble opinion, they are bad. They are bad for you. It is just absolute sugar. You are indulging in a massive amount of sugar each and every time you eat a peep. It's simply not worth the amount of sugar you get in one single peep. Did you know one package of Peeps equals 1 can and a half a can of Mountain Dew? That is just horrible. So, in my opinion, Peeps are absolutely bad for you, and I will never see myself eating Peeps again. But hey, I'm not going to rain on anyone's parade that happens to like Peeps. My grandmother loves them. They've been around for a while. They're just a ton of sugar. But if they're a once a year treat that you indulge in, then so be it. All right, so let's away from cake and sweets and talk about another thing that I know very well and know that I love very much, and that is the aquarium hobby. It's time for Aqua Alex's fish of the weekend. And much like next week, this week I've got two fish species that I'm going to talk about and show off. All right. Well, the first fish we're going to talk about is a silver dollar that I know very well and love very much, and that is the Redhook silver dollar. Now, the Redhook silver dollar belongs to the Mylius family. It is a very pretty fish. The Redhook silver dollar can grow to be about a foot long, so it would require a large aquarium, at least 125 gallons. The Redhook silver dollar is a schooling silver dollar, like most other silver dollar species. So you should keep them in groups of at least 3 or 4. Now, redhooks are a very beautiful fish. As they mature, they get some orange spots and orange coloration. So I could talk about redhooks all night long, but I did have a big group of redhooks that I gave to my friend Daryl, and they're in an amazing home right now. I'm actually going to show you my redhooks that are now owned by Daryl. So they look great. Here's another video of the redhooks. Alrighty, there you have it. There's my discussion on redhooks. The next fish I'm going to talk about is a chocolate cichlid. And here is a photo of my very own chocolate cichlid. I thought this fish should be perfect to talk about since it is Easter season and 70% of candy purchased for Easter is chocolate. The chocolate cichlid comes from South America. It grows to about 10 inches in length. They're very similar in personality to an Oscar, but I find them to be a little more docile. Very pretty fish. They can go from a reddish purple to a purplish brown to an emerald green color. And they're very, very peaceful to semi-aggressive. And they can grow to about 10 to 11 inches. And they're just like Oscars in the fact that they love to eat. My 2 chocolate cichlids that I have will eat anything from tilapia, market shrimp, bloodworms, and pellets. I'm going to talk more in depth about the chocolate cichlid next Friday on the Easter 2023 bash. And I just really wanted to show off my chocolate cichlid on tonight's episode of Super Friday Live. An amazing looking, I have to tell you, the chocolate cichlid is definitely a gorgeous, gorgeous fish. All right, let's go ahead and answer the questions that I was asking you. I didn't get any live answers tonight, but that is fine. You can still post your answers in the comments. So let's go over my answers to these questions. What am I doing for Easter this year? Well, I'm going to be spending Easter with my family. I'm actually going to be doing some cooking. I'm going to be making a prime rib. I'm going to be making some honey roasted carrots and probably broccoli. And then I'm going to be making a strawberry cheesecake, which I will be filming for my 1-year anniversary next week, and a golden Oreo cheesecake. So that's what I'm doing for Easter this year. What is my most expensive purchase? I've got to really think about that because I've made some really expensive purchases over the years. I would have to say, if I remember correctly, my most expensive purchase to date would probably be a 120-gallon aquarium I purchased a couple years ago for about close to $1,000. It came with everything, though. It had the aquarium, the stand, lights, lids, filters. It was all brand new, but I think that is my most expensive purchase. And when am I looking forward to this spring? Even though I talked about it earlier, WrestleMania, New York Yankees, snowbirds leaving, and I think there was one other thing I forgot. A new job. So those are my answers to those questions. You can post your answers to these questions in the comments below. All right. Are you guys ready to laugh your asses off? Well, I hope you're ready because I've got some funny jokes for you this week. It's the second edition of Jokes with Alex Cardinale. All right, here are the jokes for this week's episode. Why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll? Well, Ken came in another box. What is Moby Dick's dad's name? Papa Boner. What do you get when you mix birth control and LSD? Well, you get a trip without kids. My grief counselor died. He was so good I don't even care. The doctor gave me 1 year to live, so I shot him with my gun. The judge gave me 15 years. Problem solved. My senior relatives like to tease me at weddings. Things like, you'll be next. They stopped once I started doing the same to them at funerals. That's all. And finally, the last one. My girlfriend dumped me, so I stole her wheelchair. Guess who came crawling back? That one's bad, too. These jokes are funny, though. I have to admit, I got a good laugh out of those jokes. All right. Well, next week it's going to be a celebration. Party time on Saturday, because next week we're going to be celebrating the 1-year YouTube anniversary of Saturday Live with American Alex Cardinale. Next Saturday is the 1-year YouTube anniversary. And next week, I've got 3 guests that are coming on the show. Our first guest, who is going to open the show, is my dear friend and Holocaust expert, Daryl Schwartz. And then we've got the Easter Bunny, because next weekend is Easter weekend. And it wouldn't be Easter without the Easter Bunny. And our main event next week, my interview with fish keeping YouTuber Sean Peck from Peck Tech. Also next week, there will be more Easter facts and topics. Chef Alex will show you how to make a strawberry cheesecake. Aqua Alex will discuss the Giardini Arowana, one of my favorites, and the clown knife. Aqua Alex may also get new fish in honor of the occasion. There will be some crumble cookie reviews. I will also recap WrestleMania 39, and there's going to be announcements for new segments coming to Saturday Live in Season 2. And there will be small surprises as well. Now, some segments that normally air on Saturday Live are not going to air next week because it's going to be a long show and I've got a lot planned. But those will return to premiere of Saturday Live moving forward. And a Season 2 premiere is going to be a good episode as well. So I am excited for next Saturday, one of the first big Saturday Live shows. And I can't believe it's been a year already. I started this show as like a show must go on attitude, and look what it has turned into, one of my best shows out of the year. All right, we've got 2 final segments, and right now we're going to get to a segment that I haven't done in well over 6 months, I think. The last time I did this segment was back in either September or October when the Yankees were eliminated from the playoffs. And now it is time to talk about the New York Yankees. In my opinion, one of the best teams in the major leagues. So the New York Yankees, as you guys know, are my favorite Major League Baseball team. The Yankees started the regular season on Thursday. And Garrett Cole had a dominating performance, striking out 10 batters, which set a record for the New York Yankees. And the Yankees picked up an opening day victory 5-0. The Yankees beat the San Francisco Giants. But imagine in an alternate universe if Aaron Judge signed with the Giants. He probably would have got booed out of Yankee Stadium. But he did the right thing by re-signing with the New York Yankees. Because the Giants, let's face it, they're not going to go anywhere for so many years. But the Yankees beat the Giants 5-0. They had today off, and I think they play tomorrow and Sunday. So hopefully the Yankees can get their first sweep of the season by defeating the New York Giants. But unfortunately, the injury bug hit us again. The starting pitcher we signed, Carlos Rendon, is injured, but he should be able to return pretty soon. All right, guys, are you ready for our final segment of this episode? Are you ready for the 6 funny videos I have for you? All right, the first funny video I have for you kind of reminds me of my good pal, my good friend, William T. Check it out.
Let's cut the shit. Are you a pedophile?
What? No.
Lucas, if you're a pedophile standing in front of 3 single boys, would you admit it?
Probably not.
Then why would he?
Oh, come on. Do I look like a pedophile?
Yes, absolutely.
That's not fair.
You look more like a pedophile than anyone I've ever seen.
Look, I'm not a pedophile. I'm a cool guy.
Fine.
That's funny every time I see that video. All right, here is our next video.
Hey, sir, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I left my wallet at home, and I need to get some tampons. Do you have a couple dollars you could spare?
I don't.
Thank
It's literally everything I got.
I really appreciate that.
Have a good one.
Excuse me, I actually didn't need the money. I was doing a social experiment to see who would be generous enough to give me the money. Why'd you give it to me?
I mean, I don't know. You said you needed it, and I wanted to help you out. So take it and be blessed. Have a good one.
Thank you. I mean, excuse me. The first person that was going to give me some money, I was going to give them some head.
You were what?
I was going to give them some head.
No one's ever done that for me before. Where you want to do it? Right here?
Right here's fine.
Thank you so much. Bitch!
Your PTO request has been denied due to company policy. How about you policy these nuts? I ain't coming in. I wasn't asking. I was letting you know on those dates I'm going to be like the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. I ain't showing up.
That was a good one.
Howard, I understand the frustration, but at this time, we've exhausted all our options, so I'm really not sure what you want me to say. Pardon? We just lost you as a customer. Howard, come on. That's incredible news. Oh my god. Man, you literally stressed me the fuck out, so this is a major win for me. Yeah, okay. Can't wait to never talk to you again. Okay, see ya.
That would be me as a call salesperson.
You want a boyfriend?
Yeah, look, I don't see no print.
He's just my boss.
Is you a Nemo?
I'm a nympho.
Oh.
Let me just get one kid.
Okay.
I'll give you one back.
You been sucking
No,
dick?
I've been
Okay.
eating ass. All right.
Got waves.
I got a thong on. Oh.
Hey, you're done. That's it. Holy, can't fit through the door. Who the fuck are you? This is my new bodyguard, and he's the last person you'd want to mess with. Bodyguard? Bro, Tubby Man over here looks like he came out of the womb out of breath. You really messed up. I'm writing you a ticket. Oh, hell no, Paul Blart. Just wait till I tell Mrs. Applebottoms. That's impossible. He's never lost a fight. Yeah, he's probably never lost a fight to you because you were out of breath first.
That's funny. All right, well, that's everything I have for you here on Super Friday Live. Again, next Saturday, it's our 1-year anniversary. You don't want to miss the 1-year anniversary next Saturday. All right. I would like to thank you for tuning into Super Friday Live here on my YouTube channel, American Alex Cardinale. I hope you enjoyed Super Friday Live, and I hope you enjoyed WrestleMania 39 if you're a wrestling fan. We ran out of time. I could not interview my friend William King because we ran out of time today. I will be back next week for the 1-year anniversary of Saturday Live. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy WrestleMania. Happy Easter. And I will see you next week on the historic 1-year anniversary of Saturday Live.
Easter is quickly approaching. Happy Easter, everyone. This is Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale, and I'm inviting you to tune in and watch the Easter 2023 Bash live on Friday, April 7th, 2023 at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be an extra good show on Good Friday. It is airing on my YouTube channel American Alex Cardinale. Also joining Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale will be Chef Alex, Aqua Alex, and Detective Alex. Chef Alex will have Easter dinner tips and recipes. Get your last-minute Easter dinner and dessert questions answered as well if you post questions in the comments. Aqua Alex will discuss tropical fish species that represent Easter. Detective Alex Cardinale will break down 2 crimes that happened on Easter. Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale will discuss bunnies and other Easter-themed topics. Plus, watch Easter Bunny Alex Cardinale paint some Easter eggs and frost some Easter sugar cookies. It all goes down live Friday, April 7, 2023 at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on YouTube channel American Alex Cardinale. Happy Easter!